The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to this week's therapy session.
The world is filled with pimps and hoes.
Rest in peace, Biggie. Just got admitted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this weekend. Shout out to the notorious B.I.G.
Shout out, baby.
Yeah, that
Biggie
new
Smalls.
music was hitting right there, right?
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
And
right on time.
It kind of bleeds into what we're going to talk about today, pimps and hoes. But before we get into that, it's your boy MK. To the right of me, I got my man Skrill. There it is.
Yes, I'm here. I'm in the building. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. Appreciate it very much. I did what I could.
Yeah, you
I did what I could. To my right, it's my brother from another mother, but the same father, Mr. Estrada himself.
Hey, we don't share the same father, but that is a nice father time Hublot on your wrist.
I thought I might tempt you. I thought I might tempt you to accept Jesus Christ tonight. But since you're not, I'll let you continue on. Fucking scumbag.
Hey, I like that father time
Heavenly
Hublot,
Father,
man.
huh?
How much that hit you for? That's a beautiful one. I don't want to know. Hey, this is a J Estrada Fitness. Peace, love, health, and stay inspired by the God that you call self. To my right,
I don't know.
shining like a light,
I don't know.
is my brother.
I don't know.
Same mother, same
Same
father.
mother,
It's
same
Wes
father.
Strada, the scientist. He dig that. Glory, glory. Good to see you, brothers. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yes. Yes, the higher dimensional thinker, you know. And, I'm just good to be here, get right on time.
Took a lot of chemistry to put that curl in your hair, didn't it?
Oh, man. Well, my middle name is
Scientist.
Lorenzito, and it's natural, my friend. So if you want to go to my other country, I can take you there so you can do that. Well, your hair is curly also.
The scientist.
I'm moving on to my right, and I have my brother, the attorney,
Hey,
the abolitionist.
all that.
Talk to him.
Jai personally, the abolitionist out here with my brothers. We are not for sale unless you're purchasing our services, of course. But other than that, I'm here with the coldest brother, even though, with the Make America Great polo beanie. My brother, Too Sick Jamers.
You're going to have to explain that one.
What a terrible introduction.
Explain your beanie to
You know
the
what I'm
listeners.
saying?
Explain that American
Explain-
flag
It's
on
a
your beanie
terrible-
right now.
He's a
what
proud American.
Terrible introduction.
He's proud.
It's a polo beanie, man. It just went along. I wasn't thinking about that, but
Proud American.
Too Sick J. Hey, I want to give a special shout out to our brother. We're missing our brother, C. No Collins, man.
Hollywood.
In case you guys
Where
didn't
you at,
know,
baby?
big ups to my brother. He's closed escrow today on a new property. He'll probably fill you guys in with that later on. But big shout out to
Or
my
he
man,
won't
C-No.
because he don't want his business out there. But
Yes.
we're gonna keep it moving on.
for
MK,
sure.
talk to us.
Thanks for telling us. Look, so today we got a pretty good topic today.
Proud of our brothers.
I think it's an excellent topic. Jay Estrada hit me with this one. Fellas, can we afford to be prostitutes in this next generation of America? Our culture has been in an abusive pimp and hoe. Let me say it again. An abusive pimp and hoe
The world
relationship
is
with
filled
America.
with pimps and hoes.
Hence the intro. You heard it. We switched it up just for that. However, we've been given expensive shades to hide our black eyes. And I think it's going to be a good topic. But before we get into that, let's state the obvious. Yesterday, as we record this, Saturday morning, I woke up to a new president. I think it'll stand up. I mean, I voted like about 2 weeks ago. Everybody else voted like Tuesday or whenever, and it still took 4 or 5 days for this shit to pop off.
Right.
And I know we talked about it, but look, low key, I'm happy. You know, we got that dude out of there. I know half y'all voted. Sorry about your man Kanye.
2024.
I voted for him too. I voted for Kanye too.
Okay, well, I'm sorry to you
sorry to
too
hear that
about
about
your
Kanye.
man Kanye. But what
you
I
feel
wanted is for y'all to help me out a little bit because, again, this is therapy. This is therapy for me, and you know, because of the business I'm in, because of the friends I keep, because of whatever you may say the situation is, I have a lot of white friends. I really do. I have a lot of white friends. And, you know, when I looked at this Trump thing, you know, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it was, and the man came out and said he wanted to, you know, run for president and all that, whatnot. And a lot of people voted for him. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of people voted for him, I think, because people were fed up with politicians. They were looking for change. But throughout the 4 years, he's shown us everything he could show us to be what I consider a despicable human being. He normalized racism, sexism, classism, called the pandemic a hoax. He did everything that you could think of to, you know, to turn people off. So what I'm struggling with right now is I got 2 friends in particular that were riding that Trump train real hard, even with this election. And to me, it boils down to, and these aren't rich motherfuckers. This ain't like some 50 Lil Wayne shit where they like, oh, I just want to keep my money. These are motherfuckers that are seriously behind him. And they happen to be white people. What I'm struggling with at this point is everything that Trump has showed me and that you still vote for this person, you got character issues. And I'm sitting here saying, you're a friend of mine. It reminds me of the thing where, you know, when white people are driving down the street in the car listening to rap music, do they have the windows rolled up so they can say the N-word? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Help me out. Do I try to separate politics from the person? But at the end of the day, that person has real bad character flaws if they accept a human being like that.
I'd say,
You got to separate politics from the person for sure. Go ahead, Jai. But I definitely feel like
Go ahead, Jai, but I'm gonna keep talking.
I think you got to
That's pretty
separate.
interesting right
You got to separate politics from person, and be mindful that politics are meant to divide us. And you know, we should all keep that in consideration. That way, we don't lash out when someone doesn't think the same way we want them to. Go ahead, Jai, though. I didn't want to take too much time from you.
Thank you. Well, I'd say
Lincoln lawyer.
you can say the same thing about Joe Biden, right? Like, you call yourself a friend of black people, but you done supported the man that done proudly and passionately stood up and called black people predators, knowing that that's who he was alluding to, and creating laws that literally ripped apart our community. But you call yourself a friend of black people for supporting him. I think you have to look at it like that. Like, by looking at it the way you just described, makes it seem as if like Biden's on our side or something. Maybe he is now after 40 years in the game, and now he has an opportunity to prove that. But I haven't seen it up until this point. I've seen the opposite up until this point. I've seen him say stupid shit like, if you voting for Trump, you ain't black. Like, you talking down to me. You get to determine, white man, who's black and who's not. You ain't my friend. So I don't think you should be that vested in it for you to get emotional about who's supporting Trump.
I think people have to really be careful how they're mixing politics with the characterization of a man or a woman, because it's the illusion of gander, which means they're trying to sell you something. They have an agenda that's bigger than you as an individual, and they're trying to sell you an idea of change. But we all know that change starts internally, and it really starts in your own home, and it really manifests in your community and your family via your own personal actions. And I believe that, you know, this election taught me a lot about how people desire leadership. And they don't understand, for some reason, that it's their own personal leadership that carries over into the manifestation of their purpose. I don't look at Joe Biden as my leader. I didn't look at Trump as my leader. I looked at them as elected officials who represent an agenda that has nothing to do necessarily with me, It has something to do with the political system that was created to oppress me. And how I war against that is with my faith. I said it early. If you was waiting on later on in the show for me to bring it up, it is about my faith. And faith and politics, regardless of what you've heard or what you've seen, they don't mix. All right. People have a lot of opinions on what kind of guy Joe Biden is or what kind of guy Donald Trump is. But I know for a fact that neither one of those guys, via their political stature and opinions, represent me as a person. So therefore, I can't vote for them based upon my faith. What I can do is vote for the person who allowed my vote to represent people's right to choose, which Joe Biden was very conservative in terms of allowing people to choose, whether that be abortion or whether that be gun rights, etc. And that's who I voted for.
But I think for me, and I appreciate y'all comments, but frankly, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the character of people that I'm dealing with. This has nothing to do with Biden or who you voted with. What I'm struggling with is the character of an individual who's willing to follow a man who says, just grab him by the pussy, just do this, just that.
Right.
For me, that says something about the character of the individual.
Let me help you out with that, because I feel like there's two types of people. You have that individual that's gun-ho, racist, that just wants America to go back to a very, 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 very in-your-face racism environment.
Right.
You also have those people that are like, hey, you know what? Trump identifies with the fact that an open, in-your-face racist kind of keeps me on my toes as a black man or somebody who is oppressed. So that now I'm going to start questioning science. I'm going to start questioning medicine. I'm going to start questioning entertainment, so therefore that raises a level of consciousness amongst the people. And I don't know if you guys are paying attention the last 4 years, our country hasn't been more conscious in terms of people questioning religion and politics and science and, everything, you know what I'm saying? Like more than ever, you know? So I do think when we look at it, it is a puppet show. Trump is a puppet. Biden is a puppet. Kanye is a puppet, and everybody's involved is a puppet. But the person who is moving the strings is controlling the puppet, and unfortunately, that's not us.
I want to go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I kind of want to get on the whole topic where you said there's people more conscious. Yes, but I believe we also have people who are not aware and are very naive. Because it's people that's really more so focused on the distraction rather focusing actually on the problem. The problem is racism. The problem, you can't elect racism out the White House. You can't, or out this world per se. So the whole thing about, the Biden-Trump thing, you have in January Trump type of racism going out the White House, and then you have regular racism back again. So is pretty much that. When I look at it, that's how I look at it. I agree with my brother Ray in a sense where I'm my own president, and my reason of voting, which I did vote locally, is because it directs impact me and my community. It's in line with my thoughts, environmental change, and a lot of different things. So it's kind of like really me just looking at everybody, and with that pimp and hoe, you can't liberate a hoe from her pimp. So it's like, to me, it's Stockholm syndrome, and that simply means that you have the abusers bonding with the people that they're captors.
But go back to that statement, because you said you can't liberate a hoe from her pimp. So therefore she must liberate herself, right?
Yes, but she actually has that Stockholm syndrome where she finds comfort in thinking the pimp can actually change. And that's the hope in Biden that a lot of people are in mindset. That's their mindset right now, the hope of his verbiage of changing. Because right now, Mike said that it was a lot of the bigotry, the racism with Trump. Right. Honestly, I focus on what he actually did. He said he's going to build a wall. He called people this and that. But what did he actually do to hurt us? He actually did hurt, people as far as like, you know, different nationalities and people who can do this and do that, but focus on what he actually does, rather the fear that he's putting on everybody else and activating their evil spirits, which I don't like.
Was definitely normal before Trump.
So
Exactly.
let's do this. James, you got a word for me on my situation before we get into
I think what a lot of us have to realize is that, you know, like living in California will kind of make you think a different way about racism. And, you know, a lot of people here in California they're not considered extremists. Like they can, you know, party with you, dance with you, and do all this other things. But you got to think about the rest of the world where you have people that really voted for Trump that wanted to see someone be in office that wasn't politically correct, that wasn't, you know, polished, that would come out there and roll up his sleeves and talk as crazy as Trump will talk.
Right.
So if you think about like a place like a state like Missouri or you know Virginia or a place like that where you have somewhat educated white people, and some of them are just not. They don't care about really they don't care about the what Trump has done at all. All they care about is him as a human being and how he may how he speaks and the things in the way he makes them feel. So going along with what Mikey is saying, I think it's kind of tough when you do have people that are around you that don't view life the way you view it. Like, you know, it's kind of hard. I think it'd be harder for me to have someone that I call a friend that don't view life the way I view it, because, you know, I think that's very important. As friends, we don't have the same opinions on everything, but for the most part, we came up with we are all like-minded, and that's what I'm struggling with is a person who believes that it's okay to have this dude as a leader enough to vote for him. We are not like-minded. Well,
so
what they're telling you is, nigga, get over the racism shit and just
look past it.
Okay.
And what we also
that
have
makes sense.
And what we also have a problem with is them carrying out that hate speech and putting it into action
But they don't
on
see
the
it as
actual
that.
citizen.
They don't
You know,
see it as that.
that's what we have a problem with.
They don't see it as that because they know that they can always use that card where I got one black friend, and it may be him or whatever the case may be. And
It's gotta be me, huh?
Yeah. And then they'll parade around his picture of him and his kids and the rest of his life.
And also keep in mind
say,
that
I'm not racist. Here goes my friend right here. And I've been places and I've been in those situations where white people have shown me black friends. I never asked to see your black friends.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And keep in mind, the biggest fear for any person who grew into generational wealth is giving someone who was less fortunate in them monetarily, you know, money and free money. And that's pretty much what a lot of people identify with when you talk about Trump, is the fact that, you know, he doesn't necessarily believe in the democratic way of, you know, helping someone out who's less fortunate in terms of monetarily, because therefore he wants people who are billionaires to pay less taxes and to do less, you know, philanthropic things in terms of helping people. He's kind of like pull yourself up by the bootstrap type of racist. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to give you the last word on this, then we're going to move on to our,
yeah, I
to
mean,
our main topic.
I believe I deserve the last word because what I'm going to say is very important, more important than what these scumbags said, which is this is really an indictment on who you consider a friend. I have very few friends, very few. As a matter of fact, more than I would say 50% of my real friends are sitting up here. You know, and I say that because friendship is a very serious thing. And to say that you have a number of white friends, you know, may be an indictment on the idea of, like I said, of how you consider the word friend. And most people who agree to disagree, you know, it doesn't affect your friendship, but in terms of your character, that's the one thing that all me and my brothers have to agree on.
Right.
Yeah.
Period.
And when he said friends, I got from that associates because
You know what?
I'm a high
he needs to
dimensional
clarify.
thinker.
He needs to clarify.
No. You
and
know
be-
what?
and
This
be
man
clear
had
about
the
it.
last word because he spoke the truth, and you helped me because these aren't really friends. These are associates. These are people that I've known over the years, and I'm putting too much value on them.
I mean, a good white friend would be kind of like the white man on on James's
There we go.
neck, the white Jesus. Or,
white Jesus on me.
So look, all right. So I'm actually gonna turn to you.
Those are diamonds, nigga.
Jay Estrada. I'm gonna turn to you.
Those are diamonds.
That's a good
nigga.
white friend to have.
Topic. Can we afford to be prostitutes in this next generation of America? And I'm gonna turn to you. West Strada, because when you say this came out of your beautiful mind, so when you say the next generation of America, who is the next generation of America?
The people who got next are the kids, are the young ones that's looking up to us, the ones that actually have not been given a right to vote yet. Who have not been given the right. They're just free thinkers and curious beings.
Okay.
But by society, they haven't been acknowledged as individuals that actually have some sort of say so. They don't pay taxes. They don't vote. They don't do nothing but basically go to school and kind of figure out what they want to do in this world. That's the next generation.
Because I think when a lot of people look at the next generation, they're thinking these 18, 19-year-old, 20-year-olds who just voted this time around. They're like, that's the next generation. We're going to change that. But you're saying not even those people. That's not the next generation.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about those people as I was thinking about, just the youth in general, those who have came into this world, which is like an open, on an open slate, open canvas. Their mind hasn't even been brought into I'm thinking about my daughter, you know what I'm saying? She doesn't even know what politics are.
Jai, do you think, when we're talking, trying to define the next generation before we can even figure out, the pimp and hoe relationship, have we lost this generation that just voted? Like my son is 19, and I think, Jay is saying like we've already lost that. We need to start earlier than that. Do you agree with that or what?
No, I disagree. I think we're at a unique time where our generation, the older 30s, are
40s.
Connected
I ain't got shit to do.
White
I'm already lost, huh?
yeah, y'all niggas crack. But we have a time where you have these youngsters really connected to us, and like we're the middle child, right? Because Jay-Z's still relevant to an 18-year-old, 19-year-old.
Okay. But that nigga older than me. Not. See, he's older than me. So you.
But that's what I'm saying is, that I think we're connected more so to those 18, 19-year-olds, 20, 21-year-olds.
You as a 30-year-old
as a 30-year-old more connected. And I think we are actually the next generation, because we are for the first time, like this year, asserting ourselves and our position. We've been doing it from the little homie stage for a long time. But now we're doing it from like, this is our generation, this is our say so. And I think they're gonna ride with us. This generation, they gonna figure out for themselves as well, but those cats 15, 20 years younger than us, they're gonna figure it out and follow our example, because our example is different. When you look at sports, you look at the Hardens and the Westbrooks and the LeBrons, these are all businessmen, real serious businessmen. Even in hip hop, they're all investing outside of music, much different than prior generations. So what's going to come with that is a different mindset on how you build up your community, and I think it's the mindset that we need to get back to.
But when we look at it, the culture that we claim as our culture, that you're saying has been in this abusive pimp and hoe relationship. So we've been a part of it. So like, are you saying that we get out of it?
So let me just address what Jai say, because I mean, at one point we couldn't get the attention of a white. We couldn't get the attention of white entertainment. For a long time. It took.
We?
I'm talking about we as a people, black people.
White entertainment or white people?
That the
white people been
white
dancing to our music for a long time.
Since when?
Since we started playing music.
Since Elvis stole it.
Way before that.
I'm just saying. I mean, we talk about jazz.
Before Elvis.
Before Elvis.
White people was going to blues shows and jazz shows and Even right now, these jazz fests are all majority white people. They've been.
But I think that feeds into what we're talking about.
What I'm saying is that for a long time, when you talk about national publications, NBC, ABC, these companies were basically, all I saw growing up was white cartoons, white, a lot of white, rest in peace, Alex Trebek, but like Jeopardy, you know what I'm saying? Like white show hosts. These are people who, kind of foundated our generation. You know what I'm saying? We didn't see people like us hosting shows like that. But what I'm saying is that we came out the house and maybe some, back to the pimp and hoe thing. We came out the house in like some short shorts, you know what I'm saying? And nobody was looking at us. And then all of a sudden we put on some coochie cutters, some Daisy Dukes. And then all of a sudden we in movies now. Now we doing more.
We definitely.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean.
We're definitely on TV.
I think I'm gonna have to disagree with you, my brother. What we were marginalized. We were marginalized. Soul Train,
Don Cornelius. All right.
Soul Train was a staple in all of our households, and it was a staple in every household across America. The key is when you're marginalized, if you don't know, listeners, you're typecast to what you're good at and and where you're capable of fitting into society at. Mm-hmm. This is why I believe our generation has sold out more than past generations. I disagree with that. All right? Because we've extended that marginalization in a variety of ways, and now we're fighting to get out of it. But the problem is this. We're trying to fit into a society that we don't belong. For those of you who are believers in Christ, all right? To me, I look at it as simple as this. We are the last generation, period. Yeah. I've always believed that in my generation, in my time frame, Jesus Christ will be coming back. I live that way. I believe that. If you want to invest yourself in this world in terms of this being it, or your significant amount of change is going to change the political environment of society as a whole, you're mistaken. That's not why the Lord allowed me to be in this world. That's not why. My job is to make an impact and to be influential in the things that I'm purposed to do, which is why I'm on this show right now.
No disrespect to your God, but in every generation, I've heard that Jesus is coming back. My grandmother said Jesus is coming back in her generation. But I want to get to you because you keep get in there.
And he has no socks on like Jesus. But go ahead.
I think that this generation is not to be fucked with. The younger generation. What I mean by this generation, I mean like the kids that are coming up, the 18-year-old. And I think part of the reason is because of, number one, technology. It's a lot more information out there for them to really get a hold of. It's a lot more, it's a lot of things that they're learning without being stuffed a textbook or having to read a lot of things. We had to go to the library to learn a lot of the things that we learned, and they're learning it at click of a finger, cell phone, or you just dropping a gem on them and they can go do all the research. So this generation, they're definitely up more on the laws. Mm-hmm. They definitely know what's illegal, what's not illegal. Like coming up, like as far as like they know exactly how much time they'll be facing if they do certain things. Mm-hmm. Like they're definitely a step ahead of us.
I'm glad you said that because I want to ask you a question. In terms of the new generation, will they be looking for their so-called potential pimps to actually give them a plan, or will they be? Do you feel like they'll be the generation that'll come up with the plans for themselves?
This is the generation that's willing to.
That's not going to be on the stroke.
They willing to start everything on their own. They don't want a handout. They want to figure the shit out on their own, and they don't like our generation. We looked up to our big homies. We looked up to our big homies.
Man, since the book of Exodus, the society has been wanting a king, wanting a savior, wanting a leader when it's been right in front of them the whole time. And in my mind, I look around and I look at as much black influences as there are, particularly in the United States. And I say, man, we're not doing enough. I love what some brothers and some sisters are doing to educate people on the political landscape, on society's desire to marginalize us. But we're not doing enough. And the minute we realize that, it goes back to what I said earlier in terms of you starting with yourself, you starting with your own home, you doing what you're supposed to do as a man or woman in your own home will elevate this society.
Absolutely.
This big homie shit is out. I'm seeing more people die.
No. I'm saying that's our generation. That's how we came up.
That's
we came
exactly,
up
and that's why we're fucked up.
Well, our big homies was crack babies.
Yeah, our big
our
big homies didn't do shit for us.
Right, no, they didn't.
You know what I'm saying?
And this generation, they look at that as lame. They look at that as lame. Yeah, they don't see the value, or they don't see trying to gather advice from anyone older. They figure that shit. They know it already. This phone is
I don't know if I agree with that. My biggest influence growing up was my father. You know what I'm saying?
We're not talking
and
about
my
you.
grandfather.
We're talking about this generation. Though.
Well, congrats since you had a
saying
father
that.
in your home.
I'm just saying in terms of, you know, when we look at, okay, this next generation, their fathers have still been taken from them. You know what I'm saying? Their mothers actually, you know, their father. I feel like even if you grow up with two parents in a home, that doesn't mean that they're present. You know, we got technology, which is the second coming, or you want to call it the new world order, the mark of the beast. It's the new big homie. You know, so I'm really asking that question, like, when you say the next generation they don't take no shit, you also have the new generation that are under the biggest hypnosis of technology as well.
And I think that's dangerous. We haven't talked about that, but I think that's dangerous because they're learning everything from Google.
Yes.
Whatever Google says, that's where they go. And again, jab. But like, you know, my son, we're talking about his generation or whatever. They don't go to church.
They're not rocking with the white Jesus.
And they don't.
And I'm glad. Listen, and I'm glad
they don't.
And I'm glad they don't.
Any church.
Listen,
And I said that.
Let me be clear.
Go ahead.
I'm glad they don't. You know why? Because if they run across me, they'll meet someone who is hypocritical enough to tell them the truth, and to expose them to the fact that no man is perfect, that no church is perfect, and that God is not in that church. He's in you. If you choose to believe and accept, you're right. That is the problem. My mom never directed me to the church in order to maintain or to enhance my relationship with Jesus Christ.
But I see, but see, what we're missing here is we're talking about the influences, and church was an influence on some of us, so they don't have the influence. I hear you, but where does it start? Because we all had the grandmama that taught us about church. They have social media. So where, like you just said, they come across you. Where's that influence?
It starts by
say
action.
That word again. Say that word again.
Which one?
No. What did you say? Exactly. Social media have influencers.
No, listen, but that's listen. Let me tell you what social media has. It has an impression.
Manipulators.
It has an impression. What I'm telling you is this: influence and impact come with time and decision. These young people have impressions of things, and then they build on that impression, and it becomes an influence.
I understand.
What I'm telling you is, if we have an obligation, all of us individually and collectively as a body, to influence people with the truth, and there is no truth like your lifestyle.
But to tell a kid nowadays to say, like when I was younger, they would say, go get a job. You know, go get a job, even if it makes minimum wage or whatever, and start off. Right. To tell a young kid right now, hey, go get a job at McDonald's and work the fries. And then he's like, well, why would I want to work the fries? You got a 13-year-old kid that got $1 million shoe business. Right. You know what I'm saying? He started on the internet.
But like what we're talking about when we talk about influences, this is what we're up against, fellas. We're up against right, wrong, or indifferent. But some of our hip hop artists, listen, whatever, fuck it. They're selling out left and right. I mean,
Absolutely.
like, this motherfucker, you know,
Lil Wayne.
Travis not Scott. Even him. That's where I was going.
It's lower than
I'm
him.
going to McDonald's and get the same fucking meal, but it come with barbecue sauce because Travis Scott said get the barbecue sauce.
What's the only reason why? What's the number one cereal you remember growing up as a Michael Jordan fan? Wheaties. That's the only thing that you got to consider, is that every generation had we can go. Let's just go down the list.
Captain Crunch.
We got Michael Jordan in the 80s and early 90s. We also have Dr. Dre. His whole catalog is damn near destructive to the black
you have
community.
Snoop Dogg all the way down to Little Pump today.
No.
But what we gotta break it down is when we say the next generation, there's different groups of the next generation. We just can't just say the next generation are all know the laws, because the fuck they don't.
No, I agree with you.
And when I say I want to be specific, there are people in the next generation. There are different groups that know more than others. But when you have people celebrating a presidency of an elect of Biden and celebrating like the world is great again right now and hasn't nothing been done, they're misguided. They're not changing shit.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is for me to say that the next generation is going to, for me to see that and say the next generation is going to change the world will be totally bullshit.
So I got to tend toward, I'm going to lean back toward, as we're trying to define the next generation, I'm going to lean back toward what Jason is saying. The next generation is 5 years old right now, because I'm going to tell you, I believe there are too many influences on these kids right now. Social media being the main one, but the 19-year-olds, the 20-year whatever, I believe that generation is going to be fucking pimped out just as much as we were.
Well, I mean, and possibly, but understand.
So what makes you think that their seeds at 5 years old are going to change? We've been in this abusive relationship from the beginning of time.
Yes.
But we still choose to bond with the abusers. So why is that? And why is the selling hope to every generation trickle on down? I'm talking about the facts of what happened. Everybody,
I agree with you. And here's what I would say to you. I'm not going to short you off, but I know where you're going with it. Here's what I say to you. I feel like every generation gains a little bit more knowledge, and a little bit more knowledge, and a little bit more knowledge. Right. That's what I feel. And I feel like by the time we get these 5-year-olds in certain places, they're going to have a little bit more knowledge. Because one thing I feel is that the black father is becoming a little bit more important in our community.
But let me ask you this.
Yes.
Every time we get a little more knowledge, they find a new way to trick us.
That's true. That's true. And that's part of the discussion is how do we stop that? You're saying we stop that with
And I don't
Christ.
have the answers. I'm just here
I don't
to
either.
challenge
We're here
others to
talking
think.
about it.
Man, I know the answer, and I'm going to break it down to you, fellas. What good is it for a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? You niggas keep focusing on this worldly shit, and I'm telling you, it's a spiritual battle going on. And once you understand that, you stop trying to change the world, and you start trying to be purposeful in your change of your own purposeful lifestyle, which will ultimately trickle down to the person that's observing you. It doesn't look like that bullshit do-rag on your head.
Hey, but you're not going to change the whole world with that statement, because Frederick Douglass said the same shit 50 fucking years ago.
I'm not trying to change the world. Jesus Christ has already died for my sins.
Okay.
What about yours?
Yes, but you said you started that off saying you had the answer. Frederick Douglass said what you just said. I'm
not Frederick Douglass. Yes. My name is Ray Jacare Lewis.
Yes, but he also said love yourself, and that's how we start internalizing these different things. What I'm saying is we have to really put in the work, because every generation has failed, including us.
Listen, my job, like I said,
I say we failed because why are we still finding hope? Why are you voting for Kanye? We failed.
I'm going to tell you
why. You two niggas failed.
Listen, if I don't know what y'all saying, our listeners don't know what the hell y'all saying.
I'm going to tell you why I voted for Kanye.
Let's go here and then let's go here.
I'll tell you
the
exactly
impact
why.
that it's making on the world from your vote for Kanye.
Number one, I'm going to tell you. Number one, I looked at both of those two.
Okay, next. No.
And none of those two were even remotely close to people that I felt like I wanted to vote for. So instead of me just voting for one or the other, and I voted for Kanye because he was black and he was on the ballot.
Why did you wrote him in?
I wrote him in.
How come you didn't write me in?
I wrote him in.
Because you weren't on the ballot.
So you wrote him in.
So he was on the ballot as vice president. I wrote him in for president.
Okay, so what changed the impact?
Me too.
Were you just planting the seed?
Well, no. What it is that hopefully,
let him.
I voted for him not only because he was black. Absolutely.
And is that you voted for him because he was black, or actually you read his policies?
Who cares about his policies? I didn't read Obama's. I voted for Obama because he was black, and so did you.
No, I didn't.
You did vote for Obama because he was black.
I did not even vote for Obama.
You ran a whole Obama campaign, nigga. Don't go there. Nigga, you voted for that nigga because he was black. Let's keep it 100.
Yeah, we did.
The first time around.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
You didn't give a fuck about that nigga's policies, and nor did I.
In
But this is a new generation.
In 2008, I was sold on the hope. That's why I said we have failed.
Yeah.
Okay.
But when you think about it, like, look, okay, cool. So you voted for Kanye because he was black. You voted for Obama because he was black.
I didn't vote for Obama because he was black.
But
what
I
would you
voted
vote
because
for?
I actually read his and the Vice President Joe Biden, just like I did on this term. I always read the actual plan
Well, stop
and what
it. So
what they
did you-
plan to do. Like Ray said, it was in line with what I want to see happen. I don't trust none of these motherfuckers.
Okay, so does
no
do
way
you
I
go
believe.
for
No way I was-
listen
I was a
listen does the hoe go up to the pimp in the Acura, or does she go to the pimp in the Rolls Royce? You know, doesn't matter what plan.
Right, nigga.
Doesn't matter what plan. You know what I'm saying, is set forth if you're getting pimped anyway. And I think that's what to go back to your point, Josh, is that when people are celebrating Biden, they're basically saying subconsciously that they rather, go with the pimp in the Rolls Royce that's not going to necessarily, dog him out so hard. And he might not, beat her up
money, though.
as much, but saying she's basically feel more secure because he's in.
That's
the
exactly. Hey, listen.
That's
What Jason.
Let's hear Jay.
Hey, fuck what Jay has to
We need
say.
an intellectual response from that.
Because he
Why
never
did
got
you
his
vote for
point.
Kanye?
Yeah, why'd you vote for him?
I really want to know that.
I voted for Kanye West because I'm an abolitionist, and he was the only presidential candidate speaking about the abolition of mass incarceration and slavery, and bringing black men, prioritizing black men, and bringing us back to our families, and promoting the black family.
What is
I respect that. I respect that.
That sounds great. That's
Hold on.
that sounds
go ahead,
phenomenal, Jay. I'm gonna address that before I move back to what Jason
I
said.
voted for him because he was black, so I don't give a fuck.
James-
All right, we got you.
James-
We got you.
James-
We got
told
you.
you to do.
Hold on.
Bottom line, Jay, listen. You being a fan of his music, you should know that I don't know what he's done for the black community thus far. That's made a significant impact. He's
inspired the hell out of a whole generation and
Started a choir.
and made guys like us
Made singers.
have space in our society that we didn't have before.
sounds good, but that nigga does not.
The
He does
Gangsters
not
and the
represent
Killers
me.
was cool in the 90s, nigga. Now we get
nothing about his life represents me. I think it goes back to what Jason said: is somebody looking for a better pimp.
Wait, 1 second, because I don't want you to go too far. Because when you said nothing in his life,
Nothing about his
nothing
life.
about his
But
life,
he's a Christian.
but
Says who?
but
Says him.
but
What about his actions?
It don't matter. He's mentally
It
ill.
seemed pretty.
wait.
From what I've seen.
Wait. We cannot, by your own principles, we cannot judge a man's
Absolutely.
actions. So
Yeah.
throw that out.
I'm not throwing shit out.
You have to.
A man is who he is.
But
we
he's
cannot.
mentally ill,
and
Brandon.
Ray has told us he's a hypocrite.
No, we cannot
No, I'm
judge.
not
Ray
saying
told
I'm
us
not.
he's a hypocrite.
I'm not saying that.
Ray
I'm not,
told us he's a
Hey,
hypocrite. So right
listen,
now he's
I'm
being a
definitely,
hypocrite.
I'm definitely have been and am a hypocrite at times. So one thing I
Right
know
now.
is, listen. You know,
Right now.
you know a tree by the fruit that it bears. If a man does something, that's who he is. He can change that.
Nigga, if you don't stop quoting Bible verses, this man, and I'm not even trying to defend him, but
Hey,
what
hey,
I'm
listen,
saying,
listen, I'm
what
listening.
I'm saying,
I'm listening.
what I'm
I'm
saying,
listening.
for
Get your ass out of Proverbs.
for,
all right?
no, for the spread of Christianity, he has done a lot to spread the word of Christianity.
Has he?
He has.
Nigga has been the biggest fucking hypocrite in Christian
but-
music.
but
But
you
he got
going back to
niggas,
judging
but
people
you're
now,
judging
right?
because
Now
you
you
got
going back to
niggas walking
judging
down the
people.
street
Been
singing
from the
Jesus
Christians.
walks.
Yes.
You got niggas trying to go and hear
They'll
this
be the
man
first
sing
one
and
to
move
judge
by
us.
and move
Feeling
by
like
what he puts
nobody
out.
loves
He's no different from
And I'm
any
saying,
pastor.
That's a part of
Hey, guess what?
spreading the
Guess
word of
what?
God.
Guess what? There is spreading the word of God verbally, and then there is the spirit of God. They're two different things.
And you're the
I'm not-
expert.
I'm not going to
because
get into
God
the
spoke to you
religious
more
part
than
because
Kanye, right?
Christians. I don't know how many.
I'm not the expert for me. I mean, for nobody else, but for me. And I said,
He's fired up. He's
this is
fired up.
me,
This
Ray
is
Lewis.
Ray Lewis.
I said that he does not represent me or my faith, And none of his actions that I've seen have represented those of someone that's indicative of
that's your Christian brother.
Ladies and
though.
gentlemen, the doors of the church are
Brother,
open.
you can't judge.
Put all your
you can't judge
all
him.
your money in
How
the
you
plate,
judge-
please.
See, that's what stopped me from going to church.
That's why people don't go to
That's
church.
why people
right?
don't go to church.
I mean,
right
that
there.
remix of Hosanna and the Highest was pretty
That's why
impressive.
people don't go to church. Right there is what you said. You're judging another man based off of his mental impact that he has. And that's not right. You should be welcoming the things that he's trying to do with his mental
Hey,
process
fuck
that
that
he
nigga,
has.
okay?
But you don't
And
know
at
what
the
he's
end of
doing
the day-
because you
at the
voted
end
for
of
him
the
because
day,
he was black.
You voted for him.
Because
and
he
you
was
voted
black.
for
But look,
him, and you niggas
Ray
lost your mind.
Ray Lou, you voted for a white man that said if you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
Right.
So you believe that white man. That white man guided your decision.
And West
So
voted for Obama
be-
because he was black because
Guess
he
what?
told me that.
Guess
I
what?
never told you that.
You
All right,
had
hold
a
on,
whole
hold on, hold on,
campaign.
hold on. The wheels are starting to fall off this train.
Yeah.
Let's.
But
I
I
want to
just,
go
I
back
just
to you
want
for
to
a
go.
second.
I want to point this out because what Jason talked about, do you go to the pimp and the Acura or the Rolls Royce?
Right.
In
Are
my
you a
unders-
streetwalker
in
or a
my-
ball girl?
No.
Which
no.
one are you?
What I've learned from my practice of law is that a lot of these hoes is rogues these days, and so that's what this generation is doing. They might still be hoeing, but they getting the money themselves, and
Okay.
they might be paying somebody to drive them to and from, but they are the buck stops with them, and that's what I say about this generation. This
So-
generation, especially from
wait,
us,
wait,
right?
wait.
It was
Slow
Nipsey,
down a
it
little
was
bit.
Dom. That's who started that independent movement in hip hop. That's our generation. Before that, every nigga was trying to get signed.
Nah,
every
nigga, Master
trying to
P
get
was
signed.
independent like
All right,
a
Master
motherfucker.
P. All right, I get Master P.
No,
that.
I get where you're going,
But-
though,
But
like-
for our
I get it,
generation,
I get
Master
it.
P older. He
He's
set
my
the
generation.
Yeah, he set the he did set the tone
And Too
for
Short
a
was
lot of
selling
that.
CDs out his trunk too.
They,
man.
they,
What about
they
E40?
did all that.
840 Fonts of
They
Rim.
did all that, but as
E40.
I'm talking
So-
about on a broader scale.
So there are trailblazers in every generation, but I think what we're looking for is to make that much broader, like not just one simple motherfucker here, one simple motherfucker there. How do we figure out how do we get all the 5-year-olds in the class or whatever the fuck instead of 5 motherfuckers being good? We need 10 motherfuckers. To be good.
We
now
need to
they
be
have more
unified in our thinking.
That's never gonna work.
Okay. So the biggest question here is, and for all of you guys who devote all of your energy to the politics and the election and even debating religion, what I'm talking to the next generation is for. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. The next generation cannot afford to be pimped. To be pimped. I think that it's whatever all the fathers and all the mothers really have to work hard, man. And me and my wife, we work really, really hard just to kind of reverse the things that we are skilled at, from a health and wellness perspective, because we want our kids to be able to grow up in a world where they don't have to go to the hospital if they have a runny nose or, you know what I'm saying, if they know how to prevent certain illnesses, they are able to on their own.
So with that said, you didn't vote at all locally or anything, right?
No.
So when you have candidates locally that actually support environmental change, that actually do impact your kids and their breathing, how are you are not going to participate in the change that currently and directly impacts your kids and sit back and say, I'm not even going to want, they're like, you're not willing to make that change. So
That's a good one.
So I really want to know what
I want to hear that shit too.
I really want to know what you saying that your kids are priority in the air they breathe, and you have a candidate that's telling you it's on their bill that they want to environmentally take all. I don't know if y'all knew this though, but the 3% of the oil wells represented are in Compton, Watts, El Segundo, and I believe it's Long Beach. Yeah. A third of the oil, all of California. Mm-hmm. So that tells you that that's environmental racism. So again, why?
Damn, I ain't never heard that.
So,
environmental racism.
Environmental racism. A third of the oil factories and pollution is in these cities, these inner cities next to us. So,
So
when you have these candidates, why did you choose not to vote when they're telling you they are here to change that, and it directly impacts you and your family?
Fucking hypocrite. Well, I mean, what else is he gonna say?
And I'm not judging. I just want to know because that's really what a lot of people want to know.
The reason to answer your question, I don't look at any candidate as giving me new information. This is stuff I went I mean, I live and breathe this. You know, she can't tell me anything new about the air quality that I don't already know. I just created a different way in order for us to actually deal with the air quality, deal with the 5G, deal with the bacteria in our food. And even if we do buy organic food, what type of things can we do? What type of minerals can we take to make sure it doesn't affect us as much? No politician,
Here, man, you can have
period, can actually, will actually ever, it never is in their best interest to fully enlighten us. Somebody might say, hey, you know what? I have 2 seeing eyes, so I'm gonna talk to the land of the half blind. That don't mean that they leading you to the promised land, because if they don't have their third eye open, and I'm sorry to hear that about
But that politician telling you they're going to transfer to
go.
solar energy,
Yeah.
which is actually a direct change in your
Everything,
environment.
everything he just said
I don't believe-
is
I don't-
hypocritical, because he's commenting about these politicians that he doesn't agree with, and he's promoting this change.
That he doesn't know about.
Exactly. You two niggas are hypocritical.
about it.
You two niggas are hypocritical. Jamers ain't looked at nobody's policy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm
Let
saying.
me.
But let's actually let's enlighten our fan.
Let me ask,
our
let
viewers.
me go here, because I feel what you're trying to say. So let me pose it to you a different way.
Right.
The things that you care about the most,
Right.
and what you know, everything that you talked about,
Right.
Plant-based this, all the things you
Right,
talk
right,
about.
right.
If there's a candidate that
Yeah.
believes like you believes, why is
It's
it that
not.
you won't?
It's
even
not
vote
about
for him?
believing. It's about knowing. And when I look at candidates, I look at them as people who are basically saying, "All right, I'm willing to take this position because of the fact that I'm enlightened a little bit, but I'm not enlightened about how this thing really works." Like I said, it's a puppet show.
So
At
for
the
you,
end of the day,
so
I
for
don't
you,
necessarily.
You don't believe in them. You don't believe what they're saying. You don't trust them.
I know it's a agenda.
Read the books you read.
So let me ask you this:
I
If
read
your-
Nature,
If your
my
brother,
books.
if
Nobody
your
else
brother,
can read nature.
if your
They're
brother,
not.
if your brother who understands this, whether it's Ray, whether it's MK, whether it's Jae, is running on that ballot under this system that you do not.
I'm
believe
sorry to
in,
hear that about
do they
you.
give you? Do they get your vote?
No, nobody gets my vote except for me. And like I said,
Their thoughts are in line with your thoughts, though.
Their thoughts are never being in line with my thoughts unless they actually stop talking about solar energy and saying, hey, you know what? We know exactly how to generate energy from creating
said
it,
that
from harnessing
for
it
a year,
ourselves.
and
It ain't
showed
about to
me
get
one electricity from your garden.
everything you eat is electric. And stop eating that Travis Scott burger, and you will actually wake up. You will have some good electricity flowing through your body. I could look at your face and tell it's not electric. Right now, you suffering from a lot of water. You dehydrated. That's an actual conductor. I'm trying to enlighten people so that you can actually understand what's going on. When you actually have purified.
Jason, if they shut the lights off at your gym, you're out of business. You shut the
No,
fuck
I'm
up.
never out of business because we can work out anyway.
So let me, and I like how MK rephrased. So let me say, if EJ comes to
produce
you
electricity,
and say
you know what
they
I'm
want to
talking about?
run for mayor, if your son,
I like this.
if your son comes to you and say, "Daddy, I did a lot of research on my own from what you told me, and
Yeah, that's a nice
and
DJ voice.
I really want to make change, and I'm thinking about running for mayor, and eventually,
You know what I would tell him?
going to Congress, and actually, you can't tell this guy what he wants to do at this point. He's coming to you and telling you what he wants.
You know
to
what
do.
I would tell him? I would say, son,
You're
our
disowned.
daughter, we all learn the scientific method. And research is just one part of the scientific method. The first one is ask a question, you know? And if everybody asks a question, then you actually create a hypothesis. Then you actually analyze it. Then you do the research. Then you experiment. Then you come up with your own conclusion. And if you're not willing to do that yourself,
He did that, and he concluded he wanted to run for mayor.
it,
Do you
what's-
vote for your son?
What's tangible? What's tangible about? What is actually tangible? What can he take with him to any world in the world and make it useful in terms of his survival, in terms of his life skills,
it's his
instead of
choice.
relying on somebody else to do it for you? All I'm saying is that if we actually empower ourselves, then guess what? I'm thinking 4 generations, 5 generations from now. I'm not thinking about, okay, what's my son going to do? Because I already understand that every generation becomes more and more enlightened.
But do you vote for him?
And
he's
that's the
already on
power.
ballot?
That's the power.
Because I'm trying to figure out, is it an ego thing? Do you vote for EJ if he's already on the ballot?
He's already explained in 10 ways he's a hypocrite. Okay? How come you guys don't get that?
Listen, here's the thing.
Shit.
I don't think that will be a concern of his, because I know he's going to raise his kids to be just like him, and they're
Absolutely.
going to believe in what. And I'm not saying things wrong with it, but I'm saying they're going to believe.
My sons are me. Our kids are us. They're a new enlightened version of us.
So
they're not any
there's the
different.
answer. So you will
we have their
supporting them
DNA.
under this system. That's all I wanted to
I'm
get to.
not voting for EJ.
But
I don't care. I'm not voting for nobody. Don't try to change what I said. You guys,
Jay.
I don't vote.
Jay,
Period.
Jay, I am with
All right,
you.
I respect.
It's
I
never
respect
happened.
that.
Hold on,
I
I'm with
respect
that.
it now.
Let Jay
I'm
get
Because
in
it's
with you on
consistent.
that.
And that's not hypocritical because he said I won't vote for EJ.
No.
So that's
He's
not
lying.
hypocritical.
He's
I'm
lying.
Hold on,
not lying. I'm
hold on.
sitting
Wait,
down. But by the way,
we got like
you guys,
6 minutes. Let Jay get in.
No,
here for
I
a
just
second.
want to say I do think.
just for the record, I'm not voting. Period. For the rest of my life. Okay, guys, I got that.
That's
got
a
you.
strong notion to not participate in the system. Like, but that has to be a conscious decision that we're not giving our energy or our money or our time and our resources to the system.
Because I do believe that every single bit of energy that you sow into that actual, that thing that you're doing is going to grow. So why even dedicate even an ounce of that energy when I can actually put energy somewhere else that's actually more enlightening? That's what I'm saying. Do we have the ability to try to play the game? And Josh, you play basketball, but if you a football player and playing football in a basketball game, you actually gonna lose at that game. And the thing is you can't just tell the next generation, hey guys, it's okay to just play the game. When we had people like Nat Turner, we had a lot of the indigenous black native tribes that were actually willing to die for what they believed in. Yeah. You know, we can't just turn our back on them because they were saying, hey, you know what, before you rob us and steal from us, you're gonna have to kill us.
So what I'm getting from you and from a lot of you is we only can control what we can control, right? Yeah. So what is the highest impact as individuals collectively, as great respected men that we can do? Tusik.
Our best. I'm sitting up here listening to you and your brother go back and forth, and this is you guys back and forth is amazing. But like, we got to get back to the meat and the potatoes, man. This all starts in the home. You know what I'm saying? So although we sit around and we look at things and we think in our mind that things aren't changing, things are still evolving. We're not like this generation. This generation isn't like us. The women are doing more things than our grandmothers did. We grew up in homes where some of our grandmothers didn't drive, didn't have driver's license, depend on the mail. Some of the men came home and gave the grandmother their whole check. That does not happen anymore, at least not in my household or any other household of a member in my family anymore.
True.
So at the end of the day, we have to all think that it starts in our home. And as we keep getting older, whether we're here to see the ideas of where we think the future should be and how we think things should be, it's still evolving.
You know what? That's well said. But for me, the key I think is going to be education, because and where you get that education from is the key. Oh, you went to Howard Law and you still hating a little bit? I mean,
it's not hate. I'm just saying that's undergrad.
Gotcha.
And clarify, when you say you mean knowledge of self and starting with, actually, information is key, right?
Information
not
is
necessarily
key.
the institution of education, but
information is key, and you have to
research.
get yourself educated. You have to learn, research, and everything like that. Because when we say, and I agree with you, but when we say it starts in the home, we've learned through our shows on generational curses that it's going to be a while before these homes get in any condition to bring somebody up into a next generation. So you got to make sure that the information you're obtaining through social media, whatever it is legit. That's what you got to do.
Yeah. Well, we have to correct the children that are learning these things
on
social media, because it still starts back in the home. Those kids can't see the shit that they see out there without us paying for the internet.
Yeah. And we got to understand that the next generation ain't going to listen to us. They're going to follow our moves.
Right.
Absolutely. We can't, if we're not the change, we can spark the brain, to make the change. And I don't think we're here trying to change the world in our lifetime, but we really are here, along with this podcast, to challenge people to think for themselves and to challenge people to go out there and put the work in. And as Ray beautifully said earlier, it starts with oneself. That's a step in the right direction to really challenge the next person to learn for themselves, and the next person. It all go across the board, and I think that's a big start to change the world. So, starts with We Not For Sale. Anything else you got to say?
Validation is for parking.
And we
not
not
for sale.
Yeah.
At all.
Debt free.